All right.
And just make sure you announce the date of the meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just gonna find a thing here. Okay. All right, guys. So with it being 6:30 today on September 11, 2023, I'd like to bring this hearing of the Conservation Commission meeting to to get going here. All right. So and then we're also gonna say is we are going to be doing this meeting remotely and it'll be recorded with audio and video. So we're good to go there. All right. Well, let's begin. So our first agenda hearing is 204 Maspog Ave, and that is for a notice of intent to fill in an in-ground pool.
Do you want to take a roll call first, Mike?
Oh, that'd probably be a really helpful thing. Good job, Al. Can we take a roll call vote?
Benson present.
Crossman present.
And Spadier present. All right. So we'll go back to, I'll just redo that really quick. So first up be 204 Maspog Ave, and that is for a notice of intent to fill in an in-ground pool.
I don't actually see.
Know anyone?
He said Steve. Yeah, Diane, if you're here for that meeting, can you raise your hand so I know which one? You don't see her raising her hand. I know I gave them the login information today, so maybe that I don't know if they're having an issue. And I'm also writing down, trying to keep track of all the people that are here.
No, that's okay. Take your time.
In this list, but so I didn't see them. So I'm just going to share just a plan first. So let me know if you can see that.
I can see it. You're good.
Oh, can you see two or just one?
Me? I can only see. I can
Everybody
see
sees one.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is Massapog Ave. Can you see the mouse?
Yes.
Okay. Massapog. Here's the house. It is in the ACEC, so the green hash lines are the ACEC. The yellow hash lines are endangered species. This little dot is a potential vernal pool. Then there is bordering vegetated wetland, a little stream in between, and then this bluish color, bluish green sort of color is the floodplain. And so, yeah, I just stopped sharing. I'm just going to show you the other map. That looks like the same one.
A little bit.
Are you looking at the same map or do you see a different one?
I see a blown up image of the pool.
Different. It's just zoomed in.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good, thanks. For some reason, I see both of them on my screen. Okay, so here is the pool that they want to fill in. And this is an old tennis court, which a bunch of materials on it. The wetland actually come up to within 10 feet of the fence around this old tennis court. But this is still pretty significantly far. And their request is to just fill in this vernal pool. I mean, fill in the swimming pool, not the vernal.
Thanks.
Fill in a swimming pool.
Okay. Is that a concrete pool?
Yes.
Okay, that looks it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Just see if they popped in here yet.
And look, any no new participants.
There's a lot, yeah, a bunch of new. But I still don't see Diane. Okay, so from my site inspection and my staff report, my couple of questions are, where are they going to discharge the water? There are fish and probably some macroinvertebrates in the water. How are they going to take care of those? And those I don't have answers to.
No. And that is something I had the same concern with. Definitely wanted to know the removal. Is this something that we would have to continue then? Or should we continue?
Well, why don't we
give a second?
Sort of kick it down a meeting or two and see if they attend.
Sure.
We can skip over to the next one and we'll just put this on hold until in case they show up.
Okay, do you want me to do anything formally, or you just want to say put on hold?
I don't think we need to. I think we can just
Okay.
ask.
So we'll put 204 Masspog Ave on hold for right now.
Yeah.
And we will move to our next meeting, which will be 81 Short Street. This is notice of intent for a repair and replacement of a septic system.
Anyone from Collins here?
We have the right night, right? I know we're all here. But
We have a lot of people here, but so far, nobody for our first two hearings.
all right. Well, Jen, what do you have to say about 81 Short Street?
Oh, so I would do the same thing. I would skip ahead and see if they pop on it. Maybe
Okay.
they're having trouble getting onto the meeting.
That's fine. All right, we will also postpone 81 Short for this quick second. Our next one will be 33 Pond Street. This is construction of a 2-story addition and also for impervious paver and patio modification of the existing timber retaining wall.
And so Michael's here.
All right, someone's showing up on time today. Oh, Kim, I can't hear you. Get muted real quick.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting to be right into it.
Moving fast.
Okay.
Thank you. Just introduce yourself for the record.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Michael Hassett. I'm here from Garrier and Halnon. He represented the applicant. I don't know if there's a reading before, but I'll just kind of get into it here. Can I share my screen?
Go
Yes.
ahead.
1 second here. Okay. All right. Can everyone see the plans?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. All right. So the property is an existing 6,400 square foot lot. It is a 2-story wood frame house. I believe it's currently a 2-family. There's in the driveway a septic system, a existing 3-foot vinyl fence that kind of differentiates the slope wooded area and a lawn area and driveway. There is an existing deck in the back of the house, along, as I heard someone start talking about, the timber retaining wall in the back here. And so this brick walk comes from the driveway, comes around the back, and goes down underneath this existing deck to a kind of degraded half old patio, half dirt area. There is the remnants of an old post and rail fence that kind of differentiates the current disturbed area. And that's the limit of the existing site. Let's go to the next page.
So before you go to propose, do you want to show everyone the wetland resource areas?
Oh, sure, absolutely, yes. Sorry. So there are 2 wetland resource areas adjacent to the property. There is the Quessett Brook perennial stream, and that's delineated by this flag here. That was delineated by Goddard Consulting earlier in August 3rd. And then there is also a BVW line, which is closer to the property, delineated here, also delineated by Goddard. And so buffer zones, the 50-foot no disturb buffer runs through here. And then the 200-foot riverfront area runs through the property here. The 100-foot is entirely off property. And then the 100-foot buffer is the furthest line out, and that comes through here. The site is almost entirely within the 100-foot buffer. So proposed. So what they're looking to do is they're looking to raise the existing deck, and then replace it with an addition. And so that addition is going to be constructed on pylons. So it will not have a traditional basement. And so as far as, you know, the ground and any ground critters would be, you know, would could observe it, it's going to be like the deck. The idea is to kind of replace it almost with the same thing as the deck, but it's just going to be, you know, an addition on top of it as opposed to a deck. And so the best depiction that we can have of what they're proposing to do is this is the architectural renderings. So this is the existing house, what they have. And then this is the proposed build out. So you can see the existing deck with the stairs down to a, you know, an area underneath it, and then proposed 2-story addition in the same footprint as the deck, and then it wraps around, and then there's going to be a pervious paver patio underneath. And so going back to the plan view here, this what is it? The darker brown here is the existing house. The lighter brown is the proposed addition and a small outside deck area with stairs down to the proposed pervious paver patio. And then I believe the only additional clearing and limit of work, temporary disturbance is the goal, is in this little triangle or square here, where there's going to be some light pulling back of the grade to work with the new retaining wall. But after that, you know, there's going to be a new 3-foot split rail vinyl fence that runs around here and ties into the existing 3-foot split rail vinyl fence. And so after that, this area would be allowed to return to a natural state. Zooming in even closer here, this one of the comments we received from Jennifer in her letter was to show the existing split rail fence on the plan. And so that is this gray line in through here. And so, and this little outline here is the existing wood timber retaining wall. And this distance from the edge of the existing timber retaining wall to the new fence is less than 2 feet. So a very, very minor expansion of the limit of work, and very limited grading. I believe we're pulling down or cutting down a little bit in here to give a little bit more headroom under the new deck, but we're talking about maybe a foot of cut, and so that should also avoid the concerns that Jennifer had with needing to fill out the slope and having stabilization issues, because we're actually going to be cutting down, and in the process of cutting that down, it will you know, expand the flat area by about 1 or 2 feet, and you know, alleviate the need for any kind of fill. So we're not looking to expand the disturbance, the nature of the disturbance at all. The pervious paver patio is to alleviate the concerns the commission might have with increased runoff. The proposed pervious paver patio will actually extend underneath the addition, and it's going to have I think it's a 1-foot depth storage depth. Oh, geez. Lost control of the mouse there. What's the depth here? Yeah, so it's going to have a 1-foot depth of stone underneath it. And the HydroCAD calculations show that is enough to capture and infiltrate the entirety of the 100-year storm. And so there will be no additional runoff from the site, even during the larger storms. The downspouts from the addition will be routed also into the paver pervious patio reservoir, so that there's plenty of recharge. There's no loss of recharge, and it's actually an increase in recharge from the deck that's currently there. And so We understand this is a sensitive area and it's quite close to the wetlands. But we feel that given the pre-disturbed nature of the site and the efforts we've taken to mirror the current configuration with our design, should alleviate all the impacts that might typically be of concern with the proximity. So for now, I guess that'll conclude my presentation, and I'll turn it over to the commission for any comments. Oh, I will note, actually, before I do that, we've received comments from Mass DEP as well. We're preparing a formal response to both that and Jennifer's emails, or comments rather. To address those quickly, there used to be an optional basement expansion in here, and we've removed that. That was just going to be an additional storage area for the homeowner. But given the concerns and the objectives, we felt it best to remove it. And so that should also alleviate the concerns about a new foundation drain, because this addition will not have a traditional foundation that requires that. And then I've gone over verifying our crew is actually out there on site today to verify the length of that timber wall. I know that you were concerned. They went out and they verified that the measurements that we took with our survey equipment were accurate. And then we also, as I showed, added the split rail fence to the plan, and a formal submittal will be forthcoming with the revised stamped plan and a formal response to your comments. The Mass DEP comments requested that we demonstrate compliance with the redevelopment section of the riverfront. And we believe that we are authorized, or not authorized, but allowed to request this use in the riverfront area under a particular section. I'm trying to think if I have it open. Let's see, 1 second here. No, I don't have it available. I wasn't quite ready for the instant into it. But what we were talking about is it's for lots under that were created before 1997. The commission can authorize disturbance in the 100 to 200 foot riverfront, up to 5,000 square feet or 10% of the lot area, whichever is greater. And this lot was recorded in the 1930s. And we feel that in our formal comment letter, we'll be able to address that with Mass DEP and Jennifer. But that's the authorization for the amount of total disturbed area in the riverfront that we feel is appropriate. It's under that 5,000 square foot threshold. Our area table is up here, but we're showing in the 0 to 50 foot buffer, we're only showing an expansion of disturbance of 90 square feet. And similarly, in the 100 to 200 foot riverfront, we're only showing an expansion of disturbance of 90 square feet. And in the 200 foot riverfront, we're under that 5,000 square foot threshold. And so that's the limit of the presentation, and I'll turn it over to the commission now for comments.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Jen, here's some comments from you. See what you got.
Yeah, just a few.
Sure.
I'm glad you mentioned that you have a response coming and revised plans coming. That is helpful to know. And so riverfront area, you're talking about the redevelopment section?
Yes, so the Mass DEP section, our comment asked us to respond to 310 CMR 1058 5, section 5, which is the redevelopment section. And I believe, I'm going off memory, so the chapter and verse might not be totally accurate, but the section that we believe is 1058 4D1, which is the section that allows for lots recorded before 1997 to allow 5,000 square feet or 10%, whichever is greater. And we'll elaborate that further in the comment response.
Okay, I just wanted to make a note, make sure you answer
Mhm.
all of the resource areas. Make sure you address each one.
Yes, one of your
I
comments
mean,
was
the performance standards.
the narrative documented compliance with the performance standards. Yes.
Okay. And so what we're looking at tonight are revised plans. These aren't things this isn't a plan we've seen before, right?
No, these are revised plans, but not significantly revised from what you've seen. It's more of the addition of the things that you requested in your comment letter.
Okay. And have you been to the site yourself?
I have photos if you'd like to see them.
I think we're good. How are you going to access that rear area? How could you get a machine back there?
So we actually have a memorandum prepared by a construction professional that we will submit with the revision. But the gist of it is that given that it's not a traditional foundation, and so it will be constructed on piers and there's limited excavation required, they're proposing to use a mini excavator that's only like 6 feet wide and a Bobcat. And so they feel that the job can be accomplished with smaller equipment, and they're aware of the sensitive nature of the site. And it's a 3-page memorandum documenting the different stages of construction, and so that'll be available for review. But that's the gist, is that it's because it's not a traditional foundation, that the scope of the work is smaller, and so smaller machines will be able to get it done.
Isn't the width of the stairs 3 feet?
Yes, I presume that they will demolish the stairs from above and build a ramp down in through here. So they have from the corner of this house to the corner of the erosion control. And so they will be able to dig their way into the site, removing the old timber wall, and creating a ramp down, installing the pervious paver patios and the addition pier foundations. And then once the area at the bottom is complete, they would then work their way back out. They would build the retaining wall in the back here, fill in behind it, start constructing the deck of the addition, and the stairs, and then so they would work their way in, then work their way out, to avoid the narrow pinch points that you're talking about.
And they're going to remove 1 foot of soil from that patio area? That's just to accommodate for the stone, or it's the finish grade of the patio will be 1 foot lower than what's there? So they're really taking
I think in points it will be about 1 foot. So the existing grade running through here, this contour is the 134 contour running through here, and the proposed grades are around 133.5. So between 6 inches to 1 foot lower is the goal. And that's headroom is a little cramped under the deck currently. And so they want to just get that extra half foot to 1 foot or so, and to make it walkable underneath there without kind of banging your head against the rafters.
Michael, are they plugging that basement door up? Is that the plan? Because I know you just said that there was going to be a storage area, and I know I was on the site myself.
No, there's an existing door here that will
What about
remain.
the one under the deck?
That's what I mean, is
Okay.
under the one under the deck will remain
that's nice.
in through here. And so this diagonal hatch area will be patio also, pervious paver patio underneath.
So there will be basement access from that patio.
Yes. But no basement expansion.
Got it. Okay, yeah, we'll just say that far back, and then you'll have like the jetting out patio.
Mhm.
Actually, it is a very tight area, though. I will say it is a very. So you're saying a Bobcat it'll be able to get down into that patio area on a ramp?
So yes, essentially what they would do, and I'll go to the existing conditions to kind of to show it here. They'll have from
Correct.
this corner of the house to this fence, which is roughly coinciding with the erosion control limit of work. And
Yeah.
I think what they'll do first is deconstruct the existing stairs.
Yeah,
Before they try to work down here, they'll probably first thing to do is deconstruct the deck, which shouldn't require heavy equipment. And then they'll deconstruct the timber retaining walls and stairs going down, and then that will allow for a relatively wide ramp in the back here to get down and do the work in this area. And then once all that work is done, they would kind of work their way back out, building the replacements for what they've deconstructed on the way in. And like I said, this memorandum will go further into it than I can here. But that's my general understanding of the approach.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Al or Nate, you guys have any questions? None. Anything
What's
else?
the total expansion of the house in square feet?
The total expansion of the house, I don't have that number on me. The architect was planned to be here, but I think he also wasn't expecting it to be quite this quick. But I can give you a number back of the napkin in about 1 second. So I would guess for ground coverage, the new addition is going to be somewhere in the range of 300 square feet.
Times 2.
Yes, vertically, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Al. Jen, do you have anything else to add?
Just that on the plan, it does not look like a very steep slope in the background, but when you go out there, it's
Very
pretty steep. So that's the reason for all the questions about stabilization. And when we see the portion of your packet about riverfront area, that will help to let us know if you're in compliance. And have you gone through the wetland bylaw to see if you required to request waivers?
We went through them. We weren't aware of any that we needed. However, if you believe that we do, please let us know and we can formally request those.
Okay.
And I'll also state that it's not our intention to expand into that slope. We don't want to have to deal with trying to stabilize it either. And so that if during construction we find that, we're a little bit over where we want to be, what we would do is we would shrink that patio in until it's not the problem. So we would take 1 or 2 feet off the patio to avoid having to do any work on that slope. That's our goal is to utilize the existing flat space out there.
That might be the best bet. I mean, being there, Michael, seeing it, I don't know how you wouldn't be able to not touch the retaining wall. I mean, we're talking. I mean, you have not been. We're talking. It's close, very close.
When you say the retaining wall, do you mean the slope?
Right, the slope. You building that up and giving that some structure.
No, there's no intention of doing any work on that slope. So.
Then I got to imagine that right away, just to make this quicker, the patio is going to get shrunk because, I mean, you're going to slide right down it.
What is the reason behind that? How do you? I'm just curious how you determine the limits of the patio.
That fence line is just right up against where that existing patio is now, and it drops right there, pretty abrupt. So I'm just fearful. Okay. I just don't know how anything past that fence, like right now, if you put a pervious paver there, you'd be tilted. So you have to add something there, and I know you don't want to touch it. And I get it. So I just don't, a little worried of what's that going to become.
Yeah, and so, like I said, we can explore that further before we submit our revised plan. But we also feel like that slope will where that slope starts will extend out just a little bit, just because we're cutting it out. So that slope's approaching like a 3-to-1 slope in through there. If we drop it 1 feet, that's going to gain us 3 feet horizontally of flat space. Assuming you cut it like a cake horizontally, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of what we're banking on to make this patio work. But if we find that that's not the case in the field, then we would be happy to, our only recourse would be to pull it in the 2 feet to make it work.
Thank you. So Jennifer, it looks like I think probably best bet is just to continue this because it looks like we have a lot more info we need.
We're waiting for more information, so
Okay.
you continue to the 9:25 meeting, assuming you'll have that information to us, Michael, in a week. Because we'd like to have the information at least a week before the meeting,
Okay, and so that would be a week from today.
correct?
Actually,
That enough time for you?
it is. It looks like there may be some people from the project waiting to be admitted to the room.
You have to stop sharing for me to let people in.
Oh, sure. I just happened to glance over my emails, and there's 5 emails from the owner and the architect.
So they would need to raise their hands so I can see who they are.
No, I believe they're waiting to be admitted into the room. The Zoom meeting itself.
So they should be in the Zoom meeting, they're just not in the webinar as a person. I mean, as like you are.
Okay. There's no one waiting for admittance. I know when I was looking to join, it had the waiting on host to admit you into the room. I couldn't see the meeting in progress. And so I don't know if there's someone needs to admit them into the room or not.
I mean, when we admit them, then they're a participant, they
Yes.
like you. So if they're
Right.
it's a webinar, so they should all be
Okay.
seeing the meeting. And only when we admit you to the meeting are you a
Mhm.
participant.
Oh, no. When
Sure.
I was waiting for admittance, I couldn't see the meeting. It should be Jay Balsavich or a Balsavich last name, and Nathaniel Carden are the two that are waiting.
They're in.
Now they're in. There we go. Hi, Nathaniel and John. I've gone through the presentation already. There was a miscommunication on the meeting admission. So so where we're at, they're looking to continue, but pending more information with formal responses to their comments. There was concern regarding access to the rear area, so I went through the narrative that Nathaniel Yu and the contractor developed, and then also regarding the proximity of the patio to the top of the slope in the back there, and whether or not that's truly constructible, or if the patio would have to come in a couple feet. I guess I'll ask the commission if they had any questions for the architect or owner directly.
Before that though, so Nathaniel, you weren't able to see any of the meeting just now?
No, I've been in the waiting room for the past 35 minutes and wasn't admitted. So I'm just now.
Now that admits everybody to the meeting and they should be,
Not in the.
we shouldn't be seeing all of these people.
Right. Oh, okay. So maybe there's some technical difficulties going on.
No, well,
Yeah, all I can say that matches with my experience where if you're in the waiting room, you cannot see the hearing at all. That's why I was so surprised when you guys cut to me. I was like, oh, I wasn't quite expecting it. So I'm not sure if that's how
But
how
this
it
is
normally
actually
operates.
not, this isn't a webinar then, is what
oh,
it wasn't set up as a webinar. This was set up as a regular meeting.
this is just an open.
Yeah, I was never admitted as a weapon, I guess. I just came right in.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah. 'Cause
Okay,
it's-
well, then that explains why no one was here for the first two.
I would explain it.
Is anyone else here to listen to the project for 33 Pond Street? If you could raise your hand, please. Hannah. Okay. So that means Michael, if you would, we need you to do their presentation again, please.
All righty.
Sorry.
My screen ready to share again.
Yeah. And then we'll go back to the first two hearings. So if you were in the first two hearings, you didn't miss anything, we'll get back to you. Yes.
Okay, for the record, again, my name is Michael Hassett. I'm here representing the applicant. So this project is located at 33 Pond Street. It is an existing two-story wood frame house that is currently serving as a two-family residence. The existing site is 6,400 square feet, thereabouts. Let's see. There's a paved driveway here, an existing septic system, an existing lawn area in this area here. And then in the back, there is an existing deck with a stair to below, which is a deteriorated patio dirt area currently. The resource areas on site is Quessett Brook, a perennial stream in the back. And then closer to the site is a line of bordering vegetated wetlands. Buffer zones on the site, 100-foot riverfront area is off-site entirely. And then this line here represents the 50-foot no disturb. And then this one out furthest is a 100-foot wetland buffer. And then this one here is the 200-foot riverfront area. And then proposed, the applicant is proposing to construct a two-story addition. This addition would be located in the space currently occupied by the deck. The existing deck would be raised and replaced with this two-story addition. The addition would be constructed on piles. It is intended to function in wildlife habitat terms as in a similar way to the deck. It is raised up so that there is no barring of wildlife movement through the area. And so you can see here on the architectural renderings, this is on the left is the existing configuration of the house. You can see the deck, the stairs, and then stairs down to underneath. And then on the right, the deck is gone, replaced with this two-story addition with a new deck here, and then new stairs leaning down with a new retaining wall and a pervious paver patio underneath. And then in plan view, again, this is the BVW barrier here.
Hello.
And then this woods area, this darker area is existing woods, which
I
is
bet
to
that
remain
will
as
work.
woods. Lighter green is lawn. The gray is existing and proposed pavement through here. The light brown is the addition and deck with stairs. And then the teal color here is the pervious paver patio. And so the pervious paver patio was proposed to ensure that all runoff from the proposed work is recharged. It is sized to accommodate the 100-year storm, so there will be no recharge, no runoff from the addition. The downspouts from the addition are routed into the pervious paver patio as well. And I guess zooming in, limit of work, a new 3-foot split rail vinyl fence is proposed. And then the black line with the X, that's the proposed erosion control. And the existing post and rail fence is this gray line coming through here. And then this is the existing timber retaining wall. So I think that covers, what I covered before. So I don't know if we need to go through what happens next. The commission kind of reiterate their comments and concerns, I guess.
Just to
Yeah,
make
definitely.
sure everybody we can try to summarize that a little bit, just to make sure everyone in the audience does get to hear the comments. So there's a staff report, and there's also the Department of Environmental Protection has provided comments asking for compliance with the state law under riverfront area, as well as our local bylaw. And there's some concerns with the slope in the rear of the property, how equipment will get in and access the property. And you have a mini excavator that is proposed that should be able to create a small slope to get into the back patio area. And just notes to, make sure you address each of the performance standards in their comments. And you're removing a foot of fill in the existing patio area. That is the bulk of the conversation. They will be providing additional information to the Conservation Commission for their and my review, as well as Department of Environmental Protection. And so they will be continuing the public hearing until the 9/25.
Sounds good to me.
Just stop sharing so I can see if there are any questions about 33 Pond Street from the audience. Nathaniel, yeah. Go ahead.
I am Nathaniel Carden, for the record, residing 50 Brightwood Avenue, Providence, Rhode Island. I just wanted to add that the existing conditions are in disrepair, and that the wood retaining wall, it's a pressure treated wood retaining wall that's kind of it's in the process of failing. It's at the end of its life and is in need of replacement. And so could potentially pose a greater risk in terms of erosion down the road, and sort of sediment runoff into that conservation area if it's not addressed. So we're hoping to make site improvements with this project that would have a low impact when compared to the existing conditions.
Excellent. Thank you, Nathaniel. Any other public comments from anyone? So we're seeing none. All right. So we will continue this hearing, Mike, like we had spoke about already. You guys have any other comments you'd like to add yourselves? Good to go. All right. All right, guys. So we'll get a motion to close the hearing, Jen? Or
Yeah.
just okay.
Motion to continue to
Just a
9.
motion to continue. Okay. So we're gonna do a motion to continue 33 Pond Street to September 25th.
Benson, second.
Benson with the second, roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Spady, aye. All right, guys, we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
So
your
now
time.
we're gonna back up and go to the beginning of the
Yes.
agenda. To 204 Massapog Ave. And
Yes, 204
that-
Mass Bar Ave for notice of intent to fill in an in-ground pool.
That's Steve, that's you guys, right?
Yes,
Okay,
you can,
We apologize. We've been trying to get on this thing for a half an hour and it just popped up. I don't know if you guys are having a problem.
that was, that it was partly on our end, so apologies
Okay,
to
good.
everyone for that. It was,
okay, and we're kind of new to the Zoom thing, so I apologize if we're off
yeah.
and on and all of that.
I'm sure you know we're upset, but we're okay. We'll just move on.
Yeah. So 204 Massapog Ave, there's an existing pool. And what we would like to do is fill it in. We are aware that you have to make holes into the bottom, drill holes into the bottom of it to drain it and have drainage. And right now, Jennifer, I do believe you went out to the site and noticed some fish in the pool. We have had some people inquire about the fish, but to take them and bring them to their own ponds or whatever, or their own koi pools or whatever at their house. But we didn't want to say they could do anything until we find out from you if it is in fact okay to do. So we kind of want to wait for your okay on that.
yeah, as long as they're going to an actual man-made pond. As long as
Mhm.
no one is putting them into a natural wetland or a vernal pool or anything like that, something that
There's a
is,
couple of really big bullfrogs in there. I never seen them so big and they're just hanging out. So, we'll find a place, a pond or something to bring them.
so we
out.
want to get all the wildlife out first, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, and I just wanted to know, what, how you guys feel about it and any concerns that you might have about. We're not going anywhere near the wetlands. There's an apron around the pool, and then there's a tennis court that actually abuts that. So we've got not even anywhere near the wetlands. We're about 85 feet away, like you said when we met before. So I'm just kind of want to figure out what you're thinking.
Well, I'll open that up. I'll
Awesome.
start that off. No, it's great. I'll start up. Nate, now, do you have anything you guys like to ask? Yep, Nate, I'll come.
One of the things I'd be interested in learning is what are they gonna do to fill the pond? Where's the fill gonna come from? Are they gonna leave the cement in situ?
Mhm. Okay.
What are their generic plans for
What-
that? And
What
where's
our,
the-
when I spoke with the building inspector initially, and he didn't have a problem with it, we're gonna jackhammer holes in the bottom of the pool and for drainage, and we're gonna bring in clean gravel fill, and we're gonna fill it probably about. This is what I want to do, is put it that way, about maybe 4 inches from the top, and then bring in 3/4 crushed stone, and have like a kidney-shaped patio. Utilize it that way and keep the apron that's there, the concrete apron, just keep it there. And, put a fire pit in the middle or something like that. But I do want you to know though, there was a lot of rubbish all around the other wetland area. And I think Jennifer had mentioned something about cutting stuff, weeds and stuff like that. And she did say that. And I want to just address that in case you forgot. We did not cut anything or touch anything back there. The areas that she might be thinking is where my scrap guy came in and removed all the stuff. So all the weeds are all matted down, you know what I mean? So it kind of looks like you did cut it, but everything's gone. I must have took the whole 30-yard dumpster of
There were a lot of wood pallet,
pipes
There was-
and yeah,
a lot of debris.
it's clean. We just want to clean it up. That's all we want to do.
So the area between the fence at the old tennis court and the wetlands that are flagged, that's just gonna grow back now?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we never even went in there, Jen. You're talking about crossing the tennis courts and going straight into the woods in the backyard. We have never even gone in there. The area that we did disturb was to the right of that, which isn't the wetland area, and I thought that's what you were talking about. That's where all the rubbish was. It was, you probably could say, the north side of the property, you know, back of that barn. That's where all that, and back of the barn was all the stuff that was thrown in there. But no, the wetlands, we haven't gone near that. I mean, I'm aware of the situation and I'm just cleaning it up. That's it. And I think that's all I have to say. Clean gravel fill and
Like stone on
and
top.
crushed stone on top to make it a decorative patio. And I think that gentleman just said something I can't remember. Did he have something else? Oh, it was what you were bringing in for fill. I think that's all he said. Pretty sure. The fish will take care of them. We'll, you know, make sure we, as we're draining it, we'll address all that. I don't want to. I wouldn't do that anyway. You know what I mean?
So when you're draining the pool, where are you gonna send the water?
We're gonna pump it up the driveway to the higher elevation, you know, like towards the front yard. The driveway is all gravel, stone,
Mhm.
you know, so it should drain okay. And there's not much water in the pool because I think it's been leaking out. So it's probably, the pool's probably like a third full, maybe a half.
Maybe after
know.
this weekend, you never know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, God. But I'm trying to think.
So there's no removal period of any pool cement at
There's
all.
no removal. No, we're not doing any disturbing. And you know, I explained to Jen, and she did tell me that where it's under 100 feet in the buffer zone, no matter what you do, we had to go through this process, and I understand that.
Cool.
So, but we're not anywhere near the wetland. We're not going to go near there with any machine,
Excellent.
and it will be nice and clean.
Jen, anything else to add from you?
No,
All right. Any public comment? I'm not seeing much. Jen, you see anything on your end? Good to
I
go.
don't see any hands now.
All right. So we can close this out, correct, Jen?
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Very
It'll be
good.
neat. It'll be clean.
So just Jen, just full certificate NOI. Simple as that.
Close the public hearing and vote,
Sure.
and then vote to issue order of conditions, permit for work, and vote.
Cool. All right, guys, we're gonna close the hearing. So can I second to close the hearing for 204 Maspog Ave.
I'd just like to say, Jen, I want to thank you for going through the process of that submittal application. It was really tough. And
And she
I
put
cou-
up she
and-
put up with a lot.
and I with him.
With me.
And you know, I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Do you want to visit the site after it's all filled in, or?
Well, so first we're gonna finish the votes, and then
Yeah.
tomorrow
Or if you
we're gonna
decide, right.
issue the permits, and then we will meet at the site together with your contractor, and we're gonna go through the whole permit together.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
but
That's
first we're gonna finish the vote.
all right. No
So
problem.
I have a
All right,
motion
problem.
by Mike and a
What's the first
second
second?
by, I'm assuming, Al.
Yeah, I'll say, all right, great.
No, Nathan,
Second,
Okay,
Second, Crossman second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Beatty, aye. Okay. All right. So we're gonna make a motion to issue a notice of intent to fill in an in-ground pool for 204 Maspog Ave. Can I get a second?
Crossman,
Benson,
second.
second.
Excellent. Crossman, Crossman the second. Get a roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
All right, Spady, aye.
Mhm.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah.
All right, next up again, 81 Short Street. This is for a notice of intent to repair and replacement of a septic system.
So you
Do
got
you want to watch it?
Ken, we're just gonna mute everybody who's not part of the hearing. Okay. Go ahead, Peter, you're up.
Good evening. You guys can hear me and see me tonight?
Yes.
You can, just for the record, Pete, introduce yourself.
Sure. For the record, Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering Group, here tonight representing the property owner for a septic repair project. Can you guys see the screen on this one?
Look good.
Yes.
Awesome. Quick overview of the project. This is a repair of a failed septic system on Short Street. This is an existing 3-bedroom home with a stream and associative BVW line in the back of the property. The 50-foot and 100-foot buffers cut through the site to the wetland. The 100-foot inner riparian resource line for the stream cuts the site in half, and the 200-foot falls out in Short Street. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see we've kind of done everything practical to push the proposed work into the front corner of the yard, maximizing the distance to the resource areas. For this one, we're proposing a new 1,500-gallon septic tank and a pump chamber just outside the 100-foot buffer. We show it dimensioned as 103 feet to the BVW and approximately 110 to the stream. The leaching field will be a pipe and stone field, slightly elevated in the front yard in an existing lawn area. Also in that area are some significant trees that are going to be taken down as part of the project. We've proposed a soil stockpile area in the front yard. Again, maximizing the separation to the resource areas. We have erosion control shown as the red dashed line on the plan, wrapping around the entire system, the proposed work, and the decommissioning of the existing leaching pit in the backyard. We have additionally shown 3 conservation post locations along the existing tree line in the back of the property. We show just a couple other quick things on the plan. The filter sedimentation control detail is shown with a 12-inch filter mitt staked every 6 feet. We also have dewatering pit details on the plan. That's hay bales and some filter fabric. That is shown on the plan between the leaching area and the septic tanks, where the dewatering would most likely need to occur. So that's our overview on this one. If the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Hey, Peter. I just had a quick couple, or real quick one for you. How many trees are coming down? You said there were significant trees coming down. Do you have a number? Maybe just sizes too, not to be too picky.
Sizes, yeah. They're significant. I mean, probably 36 inches.
Okay.
At least. One of them is a pretty broken and damaged. I believe it's a white pine is the more significant tree.
Got it.
It's already split in half. So
that one's not too bad.
Yeah, it's definitely in rough shape. And I guess they had permission to do this prior to the meeting. I'm honestly not sure if that has been completed yet. That's just the tree removal. So those may be out of there already, but
got it. Okay.
There's really no way around it. And they kind of had to go anyways for the safety of the house.
Sure.
So,
Thank you.
we show two trees to be removed. Definitely larger caliber trees right in the proposed leaching footprint. The rest of the project is occurring in existing lawn area, returning to lawn once it's done with slight elevation changes on the northwest corner of the leaching field.
Oh, thank you. Al or Nate, any questions?
I'm good.
All right. Jennifer, any questions?
Just quick comment about during the inspection, one small area with some metals were observed and they immediately went in and removed them.
Perfect.
That's it.
Well, sounds good for me. Peter, you want to close the hearing? Good to
Yes,
go?
we would like to close, please.
All right. Okay, so let's we can close the hearing for let's see, where we are. 81 Short Street.
Benson second.
All right. And a roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Spade, aye. All right. So we're gonna do a motion to issue a notice of intent to replace a septic tank for 81 Short Street.
Order of conditions.
Order and conditions, sorry.
Rossman second.
Excellent. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Spady, aye. All right, Peter, you're good to go.
All right, thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, where are we at here? Let's see. Next up is 38 Randall Street, I believe.
So we did
Like,
3 Pond. Nobody else has questions about 33 Pond, right? No other hands? Okay, and then 102 Eastman Street, they have requested a continuance.
yes, I just mentioned, good to go, or you want me to just actual?
But we have to vote.
Okay, so let's vote on.
So you make a motion to continue the hearing to 9:25.
So moved. Looking for a
Benson, second.
Excellent. All right, roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Rossman, I.
ADI. Okay, excellent.
Now you're on Randall.
38 Randall Street. And this is for request for amend order of conditions. And let's do it.
Hey, there I am.
So Eric, introduce yourself real quick for the record. How are you?
Yes, for the record, Eric Dias, registered professional engineer with Strong Point Engineering. Here tonight on behalf of the homeowners at 38 Randall.
Excellent.
I'll share my screen. Well, before I share my screen, last time we were here, you guys are familiar with this. We just are proposing basically to enlarge the backyard. These folks bought this property with an existing notice of intent, very, very small yard, because the prior owner was trying to stay under the 10% local riverfront threshold. We've proposed to expand it a bit to allow them some space for the young kids to play, the dogs to run, things like that. As a part of that, we're seeking a couple of waivers, one to go over the 10%, we're going to 15%. And I believe the other one is for just a tiny bit of work in the outer vernal pool buffer. So the last time we were here, I don't want to speak for the commission, but I think everybody was reasonably comfortable. But the question came up, how many trees are you getting rid of? So I'm going to share my screen if I can. That's not doing it. Yeah, let's try this one more time. Here we go. So we went out there, we actually staked the limit of what we're proposing in the field. We located any substantial trees in the area, basically bigger than 6 inches, and put them on this plan. Everything that you see here in green is going to stay. So we basically picked the big ones, right? We got a 30, a 24, 20, couple more 30s, and then a triple maple over here. We're going to get rid of the smaller stuff, basically 15 and under. Comes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trees. We did propose a conservation shade mix to seed this with. I believe it was Rory who had brought up, what are you going to do to grow grass back here? Obviously, we want it to be stable. So we're going to use the some sort of conservation seed mix. We specified by Ernst Seeds, but obviously if there's an approved equal, we can go with that too. And the other and last thing is just they are going to fence this off. So they, contain the kids, contain the dogs, things like that. The type of fence along the property line over here will likely be vinyl. And then this side will either be some sort of split rail or a chain link. But either way, we like fences, keeps people out of the buffer zones. So that seems like a win-win to me. So really, that's all I've got. Glad to answer any questions you folks have.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for bringing the trees to the table, because it's nice to see how many. Definitely doesn't look as bad as when you say there's a lot of trees. It's also nice to see what you're cutting down. At least it makes you feel more comfortable too, because you're giving a lot more life to those bigger trees for the nutrients in the ground. So that's kind of a step in the right direction almost.
Absolutely.
Nate and Al, you got anything? Looking like no go. All right.
I'm good here.
Okay. Jennifer, did you have anything to add?
I'm just noting that the conservation restriction was signed by the owners.
Okay.
And that it does still need to be recorded.
All right. So I see Matthew's hand up, so I'll go to public comment now. Matthew, you can go right ahead, my friend, and turn on your microphone and can ask away. And if you just want to introduce yourself for the record once you're unmute yourself, that'd be great. Thank you. If you're looking for the mute button, it should be like the bottom left of the screen or like the app. Maybe in like in the file too, and there, like if you click on that, I should say unmute somewhere around there. All right, you guys are good. You can hear you now. All right,
Yes.
Matthew, just, introduce yourself for the record, and you're all set.
My name is Matt Keenan. I live at 8 Randall Street. And my wife Patricia, same address, 8 Randall.
All right, Matthew, if you'd like to ask your questions, go right ahead.
How much land are you talking about?
Let me just pull up the plan real quick. Give me just a second. We do have it tabulated. I just don't have it right in front of me. So we are proposing to clear 7,600 square feet.
Well, under the perpetual condition 5, you're not allowed to clear more than 3,785 square feet in lawn. And on 12/21, the owners opted to enlarge the house and the driveway and eliminate the pool and pavers. So why they enlarged the house and they got rid of the backyard? Now they want to come back and they want to have a bigger backyard? They made that option when they went for the First Amendment in December.
If I may, through the chair, the amendment in December did not change the limits of the yard at all. It just changed the configuration of the house. Now that they're in there, they've determined that unfortunately the limits of the yard that they have just don't work. And the reason that we're here tonight is to amend that condition that you referenced.
They knew upfront what they did. They chose the land, they chose the spot where the house was. Then they decided to enlarge the house, which captured the land that you're trying to reclaim on the other side. I don't think that's right. Am I correct in assuming that, or?
No, the enlargement of the house didn't reclaim any of the land that was available for yard area. No.
But is that not the same, I mean, number 42, under 42, that it includes 42 that can't exceed either one of the riverfront area since they were subdivided, and that would be under the second part of the July 25th. Beyond performance standards, adjacent lot 42 is all under the enforcement for clearing riverfront area and required to restore it. Both lots are tied to the cumulative impacts of the riverfront area since they were subdivided. Cumulative alteration for both lots cannot exceed performance standard without waivers.
Correct, and that's why 42 Randall Street is coming in, has an approved restoration plan, and they will be restoring the portion of the riverfront area that goes onto 42 Randall Street, so that the cumulative amount is not greater.
Now, when you presented this, you presented that the owners were so their 2 small children, they were first-time home buyers.
So please keep the comments to the chairperson, and then if Mike thinks that's appropriate, he will ask Eric to respond, or he'll ask someone else to respond.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Okay, do you want to just repeat your question again?
When it was initially brought out, when they first started this months ago, Strong Point was explaining, there was a young couple with a couple of kids. They wanted additional backyard area and that they were first-time home buyers, is that correct?
I mean, I believe that they are first-time home buyers.
They're not,
They're not.
no, they're
Yeah,
not.
through the chair, I don't believe they are, and I don't believe we made that representation. If I did, it was an error.
No, you did. When you painted your little,
Well, we
um,
Okay,
So
just-
the questions in the comments, we try to keep in Wetland Protection Act. So do you have comments or questions about how the project impacts the wetlands? Those are things that we can answer.
no, my thing is about the credibility. If you're telling me these are first-time home buyers and they're not, which is easily found out through anyone, where's the credibility that they're gonna follow through on protecting any other trees? I mean, that just shot the credibility right to.
So
shit.
the Conservation Commission has jurisdiction over wetland issues. So those are the only issues that we can address here. So if you have questions about wetlands, we can certainly answer that. But whether or not they have kids, whether or not they're first-time home buyers, it's really not relevant to the laws that the commission has to uphold.
Well, to me, it is because that was, I don't believe it was an accident. I mean, we've been working with these people for a while. They sold a very expensive home on Howard Street, which also happens to have an in-ground pool.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, do you have a question about how the project will impact the wetland?
No, I'm just
Something that we
stating,
can answer.
you're gonna make up your mind one way or the other, and you're gonna go with it no matter what you're about to say. Is that correct?
That's
This
not
is about-
correct. The commission has to make their decision based on whether or not the project meets the requirements of the state law and the local wetland bylaw. So if their project meets those requirements, then the commission would essentially have to approve the project. If there's
Yeah.
something in the proposal that the commission that is against the performance standards written into the laws, then the commission would have to deny that. But right now, there's not really anything that they're proposing that is against the state law or the local bylaw. But abutters are here and they're welcome to ask questions about how projects impact their wetlands.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing as far as impacting wetlands. The gentleman, Mr. Diaz, has pretty much violated it. I'm not sure if it was him himself, but there was 2 lots on Summer Street that were violated and get corrected. So how can we have any comfort level that he's gonna remain within what he has planned? Because once they cut a tree down, you can't put it back up.
So
And you guys did.
is the
Excuse me?
engineer. Mr. Diaz is the engineer. He is not the
Yes.
homeowner. He's not the owner of the property on Summer Street. He's not a contractor. He's an engineer.
Is he not representing the owner on
He's
Randall Street
representing-
and Summer Street?
He's representing the project.
Okay, and I know it's not part of this meeting, but I don't see anything going on Summer Street.
That it's not part of this application.
Yeah, I
Do you-
know it's not, but his credibility it doesn't exist as far as the
Sir,
people
sir,
around here
that's-
go for.
That's not really an appropriate discussion for this type of meeting. If you have questions about the project and its impacts on wetlands, this is your opportunity to ask those questions. Otherwise, I think we've probably answered the questions that you've had so far. Do you
Well,
have?
these people have the most setback of any lot on Randall. I don't understand what's so important about disturbing wetland in the back when they basically have more setback than any house on Randall Street.
That question doesn't really pertain to what the project is.
It pertains to everything, and you talk about preserving wetlands and riverfronts, and just for aesthetics, you want a backyard when you basically have a ton of frontage where you can make a front yard, and I'm guessing that a pool's going back there.
There's no application for a pool. This is an
Not yet.
application to remove some of the trees that are within the 100-foot buffer zone and the riverfront area. And they are within the previous limit of work that has been approved by the Conservation Commission.
So you're approving an additional 7,000 square feet.
We
That would
haven't
be up to
voted,
the commission to vote that.
Say that again?
We haven't had the vote to do that yet.
And who votes on this?
That is our commission,
That is who?
our Conservation Commission.
And who's on the Conservation Commission?
That'd be Al, Nate, and myself.
Yeah, maybe
Well-
just the three of you wave your hands so people know who's on the commission.
So yeah, tonight after we have get done discussing, then we will have our vote, and that will be what we do for this project. Like Jenna explained to you that they have hit the necessary things that they need to to have for said project. So that's like our next step. We will come and make a vote on that.
And abutters have nothing to say.
Abutters have been given the opportunity to speak and to provide comments regarding the wetland aspects of the property. So we'll probably ask for your final comments now. If you have any comments about wetlands or concerns about wetlands, that would be
I
appropriate.
have concerns that, you take a little, then you go for a little more, then you cut a little more, and then you cut a little more, and all of a sudden the wetlands are not wet anymore.
Understood. They're in the buffer zone, not actually in the wetland itself. So they're more than 50 feet away from the actual wetland or from the stream.
And
Any last questions? Any last comments on that?
I've just stated everything. I don't trust it. I know what I think is gonna go back there. I know the reason. Based on having a pool in the prior house and having enough setback where they could have a front yard.
We need a motion, right? Mike,
Yep. So we're all set. Okay. All right. So we will go to a motion. So we're gonna do a motion to close the hearing. So if I can get a motion to or second or yeah.
Second,
Thank you. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Benson, I.
Grossman, I.
Spady, aye. Okay, and now we're gonna close the hearing. We're going
How
to-
will I know, how will we know what decision has been made?
We're about to do that. So once the public hearing has been closed, there's no additional further comments. So the commission is about to make their decision.
All
What do
right,
you mean, like today or in the next coming week?
Right now. Right now is when they're making their decision.
okay. So no further comment. Alan, Nate, you're good? Okay, Jennifer, you want to just help me out with this one really quick? Can I keep you in line here for the motion?
If you're looking to approve the project, then
Yeah,
you
which they know, it seems like you guys, I got the knowledge,
motion
you guys seem like you're good, so, yeah, I'm
Making-
happy with that and like to make an approval for it.
Your motion is to issue an order of conditions and permit for work.
All right, so moved. Can I get a second, please?
Grossman,
Benson.
second.
Excellent. Got Cross with a second. Can I roll call vote?
Benson, I.
Grossman, I.
Beatty, aye. Okay, Eric, you are good to go.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
Not a problem.
Thank
Thank
you. And thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy, for your comments. We appreciate
Are
that.
are you saying they just approved it?
Yes.
So why bother having Zoom?
So we are going
Guys,
to
you've
move
already
on
made
to
your
our
minds
next,
up. You've already made your minds up prior to this, no matter what people say.
excuse
you
me,
are
ma'am.
doing-
Ma'am, we're going to move on to the next item
Of
on our.
course you
agenda.
are. Of
Thank
course
you
you
for
are.
your comments, and I'm going to have to press the mute button now. So thank you for.
I bet you
thank
are.
you For your comments.
right.
Erica, I believe you are on.
Erica, oh, she on for the next one? I didn't just give it out yet. So we're going on to Queesit Commons. So this is for 519, 537, 565, 530, 573R Washington Street. And this is for request to extend the order of conditions for Queesit Commons. All right.
Hi, my name is Erica Klinkhammer with Park Corporation. I'm a senior environmental scientist and I'm representing Sam Schofield and Douglas King Builders. And this is a simple request to extend a permit extension. I don't have a fancy presentation prepared for you folks, but it is an overall project that's been going on for a number of years now. To date, I can show you a quick little image of the area. And to date, share. So this is over, there we go. So this is over in Southeastern, and there's been building A developed so far, a wastewater treatment plant that services both the entire built out or complex that's been approved under the master plan, as well as the town of Easton's commercial redevelopment along Route 138. Buildings D and E are over here. This is a 60 condominium building, and 9 Roosevelt Circle has also been constructed. There's 7 Roosevelt Circle and 9 is right next door, I believe. And then you have Stone Forge Grill, which has the frontage to 138, as well as Northeastern Savings Bank and CVS. Currently, building I is under construction, and that's a commercial building, and then approved under the master plan, but yet to be constructed. Reasons why we're requesting a permit extension is building B and C, which is mixed use buildings, building F, which is a food mart, and building G, a conference center, and building H is a office building. And those will all take place in the blue shaded areas.
So Eric, it's a main road and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings in a conference section. Does that sound right? I mean, a conference center?
Yeah, so building B and C, I believe, is going to be mixed use buildings. So they're going to be kind of combined, just like over here are buildings D and E.
Okay. And then
names on the plans versus, what they're actually called. Like this is called 8 Island Court. So, buildings B and C, they're going to be mixed use. Right now they're still kind of working out the plan with the town for what building B is going to be. And then the food mart and conference center, or the food mart and the office building will be more on the frontage, I believe.
Okay, and then an extension of the walking trail, and I'm assuming whatever stormwater management is associated with all of those buildings and the rest of the road.
Yeah, so Sam had mentioned that stormwater, the overall stormwater plan was approved with the master plan approval, and then each sub-phase drainage is reviewed as built to assure compliance with present stormwater standards.
Sure, but that's what's left to be developed.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That plan is helpful.
Glad that worked for you.
Any questions from the commission? Seeing none. Yeah, I don't have any myself. This was pretty clean. So
that was a hard act to follow. So I'm sorry I'm so uneventful.
That is okay.
So the permit expires 9/6/23. They did request it within the, or more than a month before it expired. So that's okay that we're issuing now. And you're requesting how long of an extension?
It's a 3-year period, correct?
The commission may issue an extension up to 3 years.
Up to 3 years. So definitely the full years is what they would like to request.
Nate, Al, do you have any thoughts on? You're okay with 3? All right. Yeah, and I was okay with 3 myself. Excellent. So we'll Jen, we cool to close the hearing, you're good to go.
It's not actually a hearing, it's just
just
an extension. So the motion is to extend the permit for 3 years. And so that will expire on 9/6/26.
So moved.
Second.
Beautiful. Roll call vote. Benson with the second.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Beatty, aye. All right, Erica, you are good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Okay, next up is 560 Foundry Street. This is a request for a partial certificate of compliance for revised bridge construction in floodplain alteration.
Hey, Lori.
How are you?
How you doing, Lori?
Just introduce yourself, please.
Lori McDonald with Conoco Engineers and Scientists.
Okay.
I'm representing Rick Lincoln tonight.
Excellent. Whenever you're ready.
So I believe Jennifer has everything that she needs at this point to issue a partial certificate of compliance. Mr. Lincoln should have submitted payment and the final surety agreement last week. And all the additional information has been submitted. There's a couple of items on the east side that still need to be completed. There's the stormwater wetlands on the east side that's partly constructed, still needs to be finalized. We did an as-built and we found we needed to make some minor changes to the bottom elevations of the stormwater wetland. And we still have to plant that wetland as well as seed it, stormwater wetland. And then the other issues, there's the flood storage area behind units 1 through 4, which was completed and the seed mix is coming in. The remainder of that flood storage area is at the eastern bridge abutment, which is currently or will be constructed eventually. So we cannot complete that portion of the flood storage mitigation area until the bridge is installed and finalized. I think all the other information was submitted also. We submitted the memos relative to the wildlife habitat pre-construction cover board survey on the west side of Beaver Brook, as well as the memo concerning our vernal pool analysis results this past spring. And we have installed the bounds, except for I believe 4 of them. We have to wait until the areas have been completely constructed in order to install the bounds. Otherwise, the bounds will be disturbed. But otherwise, the concrete bounds are all in place with the exception of those 3 or 4, I believe. I don't have an exact number. And we will be providing the locations of the bounds with the final as-built plans. That'll just be a common portion of the as-built plans that are provided to the Conservation Commission. Oh, Jennifer, did I miss anything?
Nope, everything that was required by the order of conditions prior to construction, foundations and portions of the project are now back in compliance, and we have the surety. So it's a motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance with the requirement for a surety.
We're gonna use a so moved on that. I'm gonna slip it in there.
Exactly.
And this is so that Rick can obtain his building permits for the individual homes on the east side. So.
Yep, and they've been signed off on, Lauren.
Okay, awesome.
Crossman, second.
Thank you, Nate. Got a Crossman with a second roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Spady, aye. All right, Laura, you were good.
Hey,
All
thank
right,
you.
great. Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, next order of business is 46 Caroline Road. This is a request for certificate of compliance for a septic repair.
They're ready for a full certificate of compliance.
All right, so we'll do issue a full certificate of compliance motion.
Benson, second.
All right, Benson with the second roll call.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Spady, aye. All righty. Next one, 80 Blackbrook. This is also for a certificate of compliance for a septic repair.
They're also ready for a full certificate.
Okay, a motion to issue a full certificate of compliance for a septic repair.
Crossman second.
Crossman the second. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, aye.
Spady, aye. All right. Let's go down to enforcement, and now we got 81 Summer Street.
They've requested a continuance to 9/25, so you don't actually have to,
Continue it.
there's no action you needed.
Okay, cool. So we'll be continuing 81 Summer to 9/25.
Correct.
20 Central.
Okay. So the update is that we met on site last week with the property owners, their attorney and their representative, Al Loomis. They are coming up with a restoration plan the second time. And we have requested that that be submitted by the 9/25 meeting. So you should probably memorialize that with a revised enforcement order and just change the date so everyone's clear when it is due.
Okay.
And per the last meeting, daily fines have been issued.
Excellent.
Okay, and you have representatives here in case they want to speak.
All right. Alan, Nate, do you have anything to add to that? You guys are good. Is there any public comment?
Yes, hi, thank you. My name is Attorney Joseph Grimaldi. I represent the owners of 20 Central Street, Mr. Varda Costas and his son, Chris. Chris is actually here as well. Chris, you can raise your hand, let them know you're here. So we did meet with Jennifer. She was kind enough to come out to the site, and just to backtrack, I was kind of just hired on this about a week and a half ago when I found out kind of what was going on, that there was some issues there. The owners do want to cooperate. I know there's been some past issues that have come up already, but I did contact Jennifer right away, and she kindly got back to me, and we set up a meeting at the site right away. So the two owners were there, as well as myself, Jennifer, and the engineer Al Loomis, who's the one that drafted the restoration plan. So at this point, we're hopefully all on the same page, and we're trying to cooperate. And I know my client, I'm speaking on his behalf, that wants to cooperate and do everything that needs to be done as far as pulling permits and so forth. I know there was some work that was done that wasn't supposed to be done, and there's been some daily fines that have been levied on the property, on the owners since then. So I guess one of the things we wanted to address was whether those fines could, at this point, maybe cease at this point, since I guess we've met and we're on the same page. I'm involved, and the owners are definitely on board. And then, obviously they don't want to get fined $300 every single day. And that's one of the reasons why we're here to, appeal to the board to see if that's something that can be done.
Thank you, Joseph. This is something that, has kind of been on our table for a while and is quite a big issue. Personally, going right at the fines, I don't see, stopping the fines now is being something you would probably like to do. I'm not, I'll speak for Al or Nate right now. I'm sure you guys want to add in what you guys might think. But I think until the scope of this project is more complete and finished, the work that was the issue work, if that's finished, I like to see that finished, even with continual fines. I know, Jen, you probably will add to that. It sounds a lot better than what I'm probably babbling on about, but it's kind of how I'm feeling. I don't know, Jen, if you want to jump in there.
Maybe just with a little background. So the enforcement has been going on for quite a while. Back in May, we issued the first enforcement order, and a restoration plan was submitted, but was not implemented. And then in July, additional tree clearing was done. And so the original restoration plan still hasn't been begun either. And so the next portion of the The second enforcement order required a new restoration plan that would include plantings in the first area that's closest to the river. And then continuing on with the original restoration plan in the back section. Once that material is removed from the site, then we'll take another look at it and see if it also needs additional plantings. But as I understand it, ECR is looking at the restoration and they will also make those proposals. But we anticipate that the new restoration plan should be in by the 9/25 meeting.
It seems like the 9/25 meeting would be a good time to reevaluate the fines, because then we'll have some movement on the project.
A little
Right.
more.
Right.
I would tend to agree with 9/25, the fine until that date, and the fine should continue. And I for one was amazed that there was a second action that was tried to stop in the first enforcement order and ignored. So
Right.
better to have it locked in black and white before any change in the fines.
Correct.
Yeah, I totally understand your apprehension. And, you know, the owners understand what the situation is. And again, I've talked to the owner and it'll get done correctly. And hopefully we can revisit, you know, the fines at the next hearing.
Okay.
Chris.
Jeff, can you tell us if they've paid the fines to date yet?
Jennifer, I don't think so. I think I asked his son Chris, who's on right now,
Yeah.
if he could just gather up all the, you know, the receipts of the fines just to see what the total amount is. So I don't think they've paid them yet. Chris, I don't know if you could answer that. You're on mute, I believe.
No, we
Just
have
introduce
not,
yourself really quick.
we have not
Yeah.
paid yet. But we are planning on doing so. We have to collect everything and just one day just go over to town hall and just, you know, pay everything that we have to pay.
Okay, so as of today, it would be 3,300, just so.
Okay, and that, how many days has that been, Jen? Do you know total? So what was that, 11 days so far? 3,300?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, are there any late fees or penalties, like?
And do we pay this at the, do we go to the conservation?
I believe you go to the town clerk's office. They have they have a copy of them all, and I think you go to the town clerk's office.
Okay.
All right. So let's
All
actually.
right, so I guess we'll revisit this question again on the 25th.
Excellent.
Sounds good, thank you.
Some
And then the-
takeaways or- No,
Thanks so much.
you're welcome, Joseph. Thank you.
Thank you. So
Yep.
your motion is just to revise the enforcement order so that we put the new date in there. So
Okay, so I like
right
to.
now it says 9/5 and it would look like they've gone beyond
I
that.
see.
which They have, but we're agreeing to 9/25. So we just want to memorialize that.
Okay, so make a motion to memorialize 9/25, the new date.
Correct.
There we go. Can I get a second?
Benson second,
All right, Benson with a second. Get a roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Beatty, aye. Excellent. Thank you, Joseph. We appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
All right, I think our last one here, it's 718 Washington Street.
I haven't heard, I was expecting to get that plan, but I have not heard,
You're not heard.
I haven't heard anything about it yet. And I don't think anyone's here tonight for it.
All right,
So I would, put that on the next agenda and I can reach back out to them and say, hey, what happened?
cool. All right, so we'll move 718 Washington Street to our next agenda for 9/25.
Yes.
All right, moving on to board discussion. So let's see. Oh yeah, so get a request for Samurai Field. Let's hear it.
Yeah, is Mr. Miller here? It does not, no hands are raised, so he doesn't seem to be here, but he did send you a letter requesting to be able to mow a portion of Sam Wright Field, as kind of an extension of his backyard.
Did you guys see all that? Nate or Al?
Yep.
What'd you think?
No, why? No.
There. No. Al, what'd you think? I know you're wrestling the kitty. I get it.
Sorry.
Well, like you said in the thing, it's a field. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it's not his
Yeah,
yard.
it's the backfield of Wheaton, like
Yeah.
that long road in.
Right.
Right.
No.
Isn't that a conversion of?
It would be a conversion of Article 97, which is something that could not be allowed, certainly not without a vote of the Conservation Commission, town meeting, both houses of the legislature, and then replacement land. So it's not something that you could legally approve.
And it would be an expensive item if we tried it to do it on behalf of the town. By the time you
wouldn't even go
went through all that, wouldn't it?
Well, it would be, but it would not set a great precedent.
No.
Well, that too, I agree. So, yeah, good.
But he asked for the opportunity to do that, and so that was forwarded to you. And
Politely say you're not mow there.
okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
So if you just make the motion that it's not consistent with your management, your management of conservation property, and it would not be consistent with Article 97, then I would send that letter to the homeowner and I would have a conversation with him.
Okay, so I'll so move that part. Should we send the letter then? Or you'll send the letter? Okay, so we'll do that. So moved. Just get a second for that motion.
Crossman
Okay.
second.
Awesome. Crossman second. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Spady, aye. Excellent. All right, what do we got next on board discussion?
Thank you.
Ooh, approve signs. Let's see it.
Yes, the conservation restriction for 38 Randall Street is something that the Conservation Commission has to vote on. And then it goes to the select board, then it goes to the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs.
All right. Oh, we have a hand raised real quick. I think Joyce, you can go right ahead if you'd like to unmute yourself and to turn on your camera.
Hi,
Hi there. Hi, Joyce. Can you just turn on your camera real quick and just introduce yourself for the record?
God, sure. Hold on.
No worries. There you go.
I do have thank you very much for the mowing, but I do have a question about him cutting trees down as well on the conservation in the past
Sure.
at the 451 Bay Road. Is that acceptable or not?
Well, in conservation land, you know.
So this is basically the same area where you're not letting him mow. He wanted a view, so he cleared trees out to get a view.
Joe, is that something you have to go check out or?
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look out again.
Yeah,
All
that
right,
would-
we'll send Jen out there and
okay,
she'll
perfect.
look over for you guys.
And I had also sent video of him spraying the pesticides. Can that be addressed as well on the conservation land?
Yeah, I mean, Jen can also look into that as well. So yeah,
Yeah, video.
see where it's all spraying for sure.
Okay,
Yep,
awesome. If I
yep,
could just put in a letter that he doesn't continue to do that.
Yep, we'll be sending that. We just made that motion, so that'll happen. Excellent.
So
Thank
she
you,
can,
guys.
I can take her to where the trees were cut if she wants.
I didn't quite hear that last part there. What was that? Sorry.
To meet with me so I can take her to where the trees were cut, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Okay. Shannon just said if you wanted to contact her, she can show you where the trees are if you'd like to see them.
If it's on the neighbor's property, then it would be with the neighbor.
Yep, yep.
Jared would be happy to show me that. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Joyce.
Excellent. All right. So we're on to the approval of the signs.
Well, you're still on the conservation.
Yes. I'm going to signs. Al, Nate.
Yes to signs.
And Al, I think Al's a yes. Okay. Cool. Gun says you need a vote from us. Or just you're good.
I'm sure we're talking about the same thing. So
Okay.
sign the conservation restriction.
Oh, that, yeah, no, we're not. talking about
It's not about signs. We're not the conservation
Okay.
land signs. This is, you need to physically come in and sign the conservation restriction.
Got it.
Oh,
Got it. Wrong sign.
Okay, so your motion, and then I will let you know. Actually, it is ready, so I can leave it on the counter, and you guys come in and physically sign the conservation restriction.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Deal.
So it looked like Mike and Nate, and then a roll call vote.
Yes, Mike, all right, so. And then a roll call vote, roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Beatty, aye.
Okay,
And
great.
Jean's iPad has her hand up.
Motion?
I don't see it, but Jean, you're welcome to raise your hand again if you like.
Oh, maybe not. My bad.
It's okay.
All right, so the next one are minutes. Did anyone get, by any chance, get to look at the minutes?
I did, I
Excellent.
couldn't find anything. I recommend that they be approved as written,
And this for both the regular minutes and
both,
executive?
both the
Excellent.
executive and the normal
Go with
session.
it. Gals
So I
on it.
think you normally do those separately, so
Excellent.
you're approving the 8/21 meetings and then approving but holding the 8/21 executive session.
So moved.
Benson, second.
Beautiful. Roll call vote.
Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Speedy eye. All right. And then bylaws regulation, I think we're all feel comfortable kind of wait till the next meeting for that, so Rory and Ben can be here. Excellent. So we'll move that to our 9:25 meeting. Any chair updates? Just the vice chair, guys. I got no updates for you.
Well, one thing to report, Rory asked me to work on the hazard mitigation task force. And the final, that's been going on for months, and we had about 6 meetings. And the final documentation was reviewed, and I sent that back to comments back to Stephanie. And I also asked her to send copies of the any potential actions to Jennifer and the chair. So they'd be aware of those, and I'm sure we'll have access to the full report later, but those I thought should go out early. That's it for me.
Great.
Thank you, Al.
All right. So do I need to make any formal thing for canceling our meeting in November? I saw it's the next piece on our agenda.
No, I don't think you need a motion. I think if you just all agree, then I will go in and I'll change it. And then post it on the website.
Okay, so we're looking, guys, I don't know if you noticed already, we can cancel November 6th meeting. It'll be only the November 20th. We all happy?
I agree.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Me too. I already had something planned.
Damn.
Damn.
We may not have a clerk by then, and I will be away, and I will come back after the filing deadline, and we don't want to put that burden on other people.
Okay.
We don't have to, but anybody looking for a permit, they're not gonna, quote unquote, lose any time. They'll still get permits the following meeting.
Excellent.
Mostly because I'll have time to do all the inspections and get everything ready.
Great. All right, guys, I think that looks like the end of our list. I don't know if Jen's got anything fun to add.
I do not have anything to add.
Cool.
Yeah,
Let's go to
plenty of
bed.
fun
It's
tonight.
late. It's time to go to sleep.
Thank you.
All right, guys, one last motion. Who's got it?
Motion to dismiss.
Dismiss. I'm good with that. Adjourn.
Dismiss, adjourn,
Second.
something.
Adjourn.
All right, let's get a vote.
Okay. Benson, I.
Crossman, I.
Beatty, aye. Awesome.
Okay, good job tonight, everyone. Thank you.
Cool. Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.